In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to run Google Ads for your B2B business profitably. And in this video, I will share our 7-step framework that has helped us generate over $7 million in sales pipeline over the last 3 years for our B2B clients. Let's jump in. So here's the exact 7-step framework we use to help these clients generate significant pipeline and revenue from Google Ads. So the first thing we want to do is conduct keyword research. So we want to research high intent transactional keywords that our audience is searching for on a monthly basis to ensure we're maximizing conversions for our campaigns. Secondly, we want to make sure our reporting infrastructure is set up so that we can clearly see what keywords are actually driving sales meetings and revenue. Third, we want to group our keywords into single theme ad groups so that we have highly relevant ads that convert at a much higher rate and lower our cost per conversion and cost per opportunity. Fourth, we want to write responsive ads for each ad group so that we are maximizing our click-through rates and testing what messaging resonates the most with our audience. Five, we want to adjust our targeting based on match types, bidding strategies to make sure that we are only showing up for the right buyers. Six, we're going to optimize based on who is converting, not how many, but who the right people and what leads are actually coming through the right sources. And then lastly, we're going to ensure our follow-up from our sales team is pristine so that we're actually converting our leads to sales meetings. So the first step when running Google Ads for your B2B business is to conduct keyword research. And when we're doing keyword research, there's really two main things we want to focus on. We really want to be bidding on high intent keywords, and we want to make sure these keywords are extremely relevant to your business. So high intent keywords are keywords that indicate that someone is actively looking to evaluate a service, buy a product, or a software solution. And they typically include words like software, services, agency, company, vendor, supplier. People are indicating in their search that they're actively looking for a vendor to help them. To give you an example, let's say someone was searching the keywords content marketing and content marketing software. Someone searching content marketing could be looking for a host of things. They could be looking to understand what is content marketing, best practices around content marketing. The keyword does not infer that someone is ready to evaluate and buy a software solution in this space. Now, if someone is searching the keyword content marketing software, they're indicating that they are actively looking to research or evaluate content marketing software solutions. They know what it is, and they're already further down the funnel looking for those solutions. So we want to be bidding on these keywords and identifying them to make sure that we are showing up where people are lower down in the funnel. And because these buyers are lower down in the funnel based on what they're searching, there's a much higher likelihood they are going to convert on your ad and on your website. The second thing we want to do is we want to make sure that these keywords are extremely relevant. So a big mistake that a lot of people make is they think just because a keyword has the most volume, it means that it's going to get them the best results. When in reality, the keywords that are most specifically describing what you offer is going to bring the highest quality leads to you, even if they have lesser search volume. So what we want to do is we want to get as specific as possible with the keywords to make sure that we feel really confident that if someone is searching that phrase in Google, that they're going to be really satisfied when your brand shows up. And so the way we want to conduct keyword research is by using a keyword research tool. And you can use any of them. They're all good. You can use Ahrefs, SEMrush, Moz, SpyFu. You can use the Google Keyword Planner. And what you want to do in these tools is you want to input certain URLs that are going to show you all the high intent terms that exist for your product. So the first thing you want to input is review sites. So if you're in the software or services space, G2 pages, Capterra pages, trust radius pages that fit your category, a review page that you would fit, that your product or service would fit into. And these websites are SEO powerhouses, and they are already ranking for all the high intent terms that you want to be showing up for. So plug in these review sites. You're going to find all the keywords you need right away. The second thing you want to do is you want to plug in your competitor URLs. So what you want to do is you want to take the biggest competitor in your space and see what they're ranking for. More often than not, if they're ranking on the first page for high intent terms, you should also be ranking there as well. And lastly, you want to plug in your own URL. A lot of times companies are already ranking on the first, second, and third page for high intent terms that already describe them. And because Google already placed you there organically, the reason they did that is because you probably fit that search query really well. And so that's an easy place to start bidding where you already know that Google sees yourself as a good fit for those searchers. The next thing you want to do is you want to filter by high intent phrases on these keywords. So filter for software, tool, platform, app, agency, vendor, supplier, buy. And that's where you're going to find all the relevant terms to bid on. And then lastly, again, you really want to check those keywords and just be honest with yourself around, does this really describe what I offer? And if you feel like it doesn't, or you feel like it's a stretch, don't bid on it. In my experience, it never produces the right leads. Cool. So step 2 is we want to set up the proper conversion tracking and CRM integration. So This is so foundational to your success with Google Ads. The reason is ultimately what we want to do with Google Ads is we want to understand what keywords are driving consistently the right people, are driving sales meetings, and are driving customers. And if you're only looking at data inside of the Google Ads platform, you're just going to see conversion data, but it doesn't tell you anything about, are those leads qualified? Did they schedule demos? Did they become customers? So it's really important to have this tracking in place so that you can actually identify what keywords are driving the right people consistently and optimize your strategy based on that. Without this data, you're just going to be flying blind and you're not going to be making decisions based on what actually matters to your business. So what we're going to do is we're going to do two things. One is we're going to set up proper conversion tracking in Google Ads through Google Tag Manager. We're going to make sure those conversions are firing when someone submits the form on your website. And the second thing we're going to do is we're going to properly connect Google Ads to HubSpot. So all of our clients are using HubSpot. And I can't recommend this tool enough when it comes to paid advertising, because what HubSpot does is it not only shows you how many conversions you're getting by each lead, but it also shows you who they are. What's their email? What job title? What company did they come from? And it also tells you, did they end up scheduling a meeting with your sales team? Did they enter your sales pipeline? Did they become a customer? So what it does is you're able to create this full funnel reporting where you can clearly see what keywords are not only generating leads, but generating qualified leads, meetings, and customers. And from there, you're going to use that data to make the optimizations to really dial in your Google Ads strategy. The third thing we're going to do is we're going to group keywords into single theme ad groups. So single theme ad groups are essentially keywords that are all very similar. And what you want to do is you want to group them together and write tailored ad copy and drive them to tailored landing pages to make sure that the copy is super relevant to what people are searching for. So typically a Google Ad structure looks like this. You have campaigns where you control spend. And then when you have ad groups here, you have specific keywords and specific ads and landing pages that go to each ad group. So if you're a business selling raw ingredients like flour, chickpea, pulses, if someone's searching for pulse suppliers versus flour suppliers, you want to make sure that those ads really speak to what that person's searching and they go to a page that also aligns with that. What we see a lot of times is people drive all these different keywords to just one ad and one landing page, and the ads are not relevant, the landing pages are not relevant, and it leads to people not clicking, bouncing off your site, and you're ultimately putting a lot of money on the table by doing this. And so this structure of single theme ad groups does a lot of things. It improves quality score, which is Google's score on how relevant they think your ads are. If your quality score is higher, you pay less to show at the top. If it's low, you pay a lot more to get there. The second thing is it lowers your cost per click because your ads are more relevant. And third, it gives you better conversion rates. So here's an example I just did randomly, how this might look like if you were HubSpot. So HubSpot has a lot of different solutions, right? They have an email marketing solution, they have a landing page builder, they have marketing automation, they have a sales CRM. So for example, if someone was searching for marketing automation, you'd want to group all of those keywords together and write ads about that and also drive them to the page about that. If people are searching for a sales CRM, again, you want to make the copy very similar, group all those keywords together and do the same thing, drive them to a relevant page. And so this sounds super simple, but a lot of people are not doing this. And if you do it, it's going to massively improve the conversion rates on your campaigns. So the fourth thing we want to do is we want to write responsive ad copy for each of our ad groups. So responsive search ads are AI-enabled ads that Google runs where you can test multiple headlines at one time and multiple descriptions in the ad. And what Google will do is it'll serve these ads and it will start to optimize and show the ones that are resonating more with your audience. So what it does is it uses its AI to test and actually find out what messaging works the best and gives you the best click-through rates. So what we typically do is we want to write 15 headlines and 4 descriptions. And again, Google's going to test all of them to figure out what is the best combination to get you the best click-through rates. And the key to writing search ads is there's a few key elements. The first thing you want to do is you want to match the search intent. So if someone's searching for tractor trailers, you just want to say in the ad, in the headline that you sell tractor trailers. It sounds real basic, but we have such short attention spans on the internet, and we just want to make sure that we're in the right place. So that's the first thing. And the thing you want to use for that is dynamic keyword insertion. What that essentially does is it takes the search term of what they're searching and it puts it directly in the headline. So it matches exactly what they're searching. The second thing we want to do is we want to speak to benefits and outcomes of the product. So we don't want to just say what the product is. We want to share what are the benefits of it? How does it help them? What's in it for them? That type of copy entices them to click through and eventually convert. The third thing we want to do is we want to use differentiation and leverage social proof. So truthfully, matching the search intent is important, but everyone else who's advertising on that keyword is going to do the same exact thing. So how do you stand out in a sea of all this competition? Well, you want to leverage your specific differentiation to stand out. And a great way to do that is through social proof. So if you have certain stats that others can't boast, you want to use those. If you work with a certain industry like real estate, construction, retailers, you want to call that out in the ad copy. If you've worked with certain customers, like if you work with the larger customers, you want to call that out, right? And again, these are certain things that ideally are very specific to you or not a lot of companies can say. And then lastly, you want to use a CTA, right? You want to have start a free trial, try a free sample, request a demo, whatever applies to your business, you want to have that in the ad. Some other things you can do to improve click-through rates are use site extensions. Site extensions are those little things below the headlines that are additional links for people to click on your website. And what you want to do with site extensions is you want to use as many as possible so that you are taking up as much real estate as possible. Your ad is the dominant ad on the page. And if it's taking up most of the page, people are most likely going to click on it. The next thing we want to do is we want to set up your targeting properly. So there's a ton of elements that go into this, and I'm going to go into each one of them. The first is choosing your keyword match types. Keyword match types are essentially how close Google is going to show up for search terms that match the keyword you bid on. So just because you bid on a keyword, it doesn't mean you show up exactly for that keyword. In fact, depending on the match type, you could be showing up for all types of searches that relate to that keyword. So there are 3 different match types. There's broad, phrase, and exact. Exact is the tightest match type, broad is the loosest. And based on which one you choose is going to determine how closely you match to the keyword you bid on. Exact match is the tightest. It's going to show exactly for those keywords that you're targeting. Broad match is the loosest. It's going to show up for anything that Google thinks relates to that keyword. So there's positives and benefits to both. Exact match is much tighter. There's typically a lot less volume. There could be keywords that are very similar to what you're trying to show up for that could be valuable that you're not going to show up for because you're really tight with your targeting. Broad match is the opposite. You can be showing up for a lot of terms that maybe you didn't know could benefit your business, but you're also going to show up for a lot of stuff that is relevant to your brand. And what we found is that using phrase and exact are the best strategies to start with. Broad match recently has just gotten way out of hand. And what we notice is a lot of times people doing broad match, they are just showing up for all random search terms that have nothing to do with your business. So ultimately what we're trying to do is tighten the match types so that we're spending every dollar on search terms that really make us confident that someone searching that is actually looking for your service or software or product. Next is the bidding strategy. So what we recommend is bidding manually to start. So Google has a lot of automated bidding strategies that sound amazing, but in reality for B2B do not produce great results. The reason is you need to feed Google the right conversion data in order for it to optimize for the right people. And the truth is Google's automated strategies focus on quantity and not quality. Google does not know your ideal customer and what that looks like and how to find them. So what happens is if you start doing these automated bidding strategies right away, Google doesn't really know, again, what to optimize for, and it just guesses. And what we see a lot of times is a lot of leads come in, but they're all garbage. And until you've gotten enough conversion data to clearly show Google what a qualified lead looks like, the best strategy is to bid manually. You can control spend better, have more control over where you show up. And then once you have gotten consistent conversion volume and it's quality, then you can think about switching to one of these automated strategies. Some other key targeting settings that you're going to want to set up that are really important are 1, your locations. If you're just in the US and Canada, you want to make sure that you're only showing up in US and Canada. 2, you want to focus on device targeting on desktop. Now, this is going to depend on each business, but for most B2B businesses, if they're selling to decision makers and other businesses and corporations, more often than not, those people are searching for your service on a computer when they're at their desk at work, not when they're on their couch on the weekend scrolling their phone. So B2B is a lot different than B2C. So more often what we find, and you should test this for yourself, and again, every industry is different, the highest quality leads come from desktop. So you want to fully optimize for desktop and either completely remove mobile bidding or significantly decrease it. The last thing is you want to turn off search partners. Google Search Partners is a third-party network that Google uses to increase your reach from advertising. What we have found is that all the leads that come from this are garbage, they are a waste of money, and just turn it off. I can't explain it perfectly, but just turn it off and you will thank me later. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to optimize your account based on who's converting. So because we set up our infrastructure, connected our Google Ads to HubSpot, we now are going to have data clearly showing us what keywords are bringing in the right buyers and are actually generating revenue. And that's what we want to optimize our account on. We want to optimize based on what's driving sales pipeline, not the leads, but sales pipeline. Because a lot of times what can happen is a keyword can be driving a lot of conversions, but they can all be the wrong leads, right? And so while in the Google Ads account, if you just looked at the number of conversions, it might look like that's your best performing keyword, but in reality, it's actually wasting the most money and not driving results for you. So what we want to do is identify what is that 20% of keywords driving 80% of results. And what we typically find is a lot of times when we go into accounts, people are bidding on upwards of 30, 50, 100 keywords. And when we look at the data over 3 to 6 months, if you look at what's consistently driving sales opportunities, it's usually less than 5 keywords. So what we want to do is we want to just put all of our budget on those 5 keywords that are working or less and cut everything that's just wasting money and not driving the right people. The last thing we want to do is we want to ensure that we have the proper sales follow-up in place. So if we're converting the right leads, but we are not converting them to demos, then again, it really doesn't mean much to your business. So we want to make sure that we have the right follow-up process in place to book these leads and make sure they're scheduling demos. So there's a few things we want to put in place. One is we want to make sure our sales team gets alerted immediately when someone converts. 2, we want to make sure that they have the right sequences in place to book those leads. And then 3, we want to really understand what happens on those meetings, right? Are they good meetings? Are they bad meetings? And figure out how to better further our process with the qualitative data that the sales team is giving us. So again, that in summary, this is the 7-step process we use to help our B2B clients generate a combined $7 million in sales pipeline in the last 3 years. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is a lot here and this is somewhat complicated. So if you resonate with what I'm sharing, but maybe don't have the time to put it together or just are a little confused, reach out to us, schedule time with us. There's a link below, and we can either build a 90-day strategy for you free or audit your existing account to show you some quick wins to quickly get results heading in the right place. So schedule time with me below, and I look forward to chatting with you.